Initializing next life system. System ready.
What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Next Life. Today we are going to be focusing on a specific topic. This is more of like a, wow, I've been living my life and this is what I've been experiencing, and I wanted to share those experiences with you guys and see if maybe you can relate. I think this is a pretty common, I want to say a common topic. I think it's a topic that if you are like kind of like pursuing your dreams, your desires, your creative passions, you're pushing your limits, your boundaries, and this is kind of like part of what you discover, I would assume. This is something that I think I've experienced multiple times in my life, but as I do, the more I do experience it, the more I'm like, yeah, that seems familiar, and I can actually identify with that and say like, hey, even though I'm feeling this, I know that this is the result. This could be the result of that. This could be kind of the gift that comes from that. So that's why today I want to talk about transcending your edge. You know, actually, I actually came upon this idea today because I was like, I had so much work to do today, and like I got behind, and I was like, shit, I have to get this video out. You know, if I don't do it now, like I'm not gonna do it today, and I'm definitely not gonna like end my streak here. So I was like, man, what do I do? And I like looked over, like looked for some interesting news. I had looked through some earlier today, didn't see any, and I had looked through a bunch later, and I was like, no, there's nothing that's like really vibing with me. And so I kind of like went intuitive with it, and I was like, what is it that I want to talk about today? And it was like, boom, the thing that hit me was like finding your edge. And this is actually, it's an idea that I've been kind of, it's kind of been on my mind for a while. And I was like, you know, today is the day to share this because because I'm there right now. I am on my fucking edge. So let's go into that. Transcending your edge. What is the point of this? What's the purpose of this concept topic? What does it mean? All right, just to give you guys a little background. I personally am at a point in my life where I feel like I'm being pushed to my limits in terms of my personal life, my relationships, my like business life, work life, just like income in general. It's like all these things are kind of all, I don't want to say collapsing because that's more of a negative term, but more of like they're all challenging me all at once. And I feel like I've been able to handle it pretty well for, I want to say like the last, like, I think ever since 2017 started, I've been like dealing with it and working with it and being able to handle it. But I want to say the last 2 weeks I've noticed that there's been this like, my limits are approaching. And I'm seeing like as each day goes by and new kind of like I would say obstacles come towards my way, I'm like, ugh, I can see kind of like the end of where like I have gone before. Like this is as far as like I've gone in the past, and going beyond that is really me like going beyond like where I've ever gone before. And that's scary, right? You know, it's scary to be like, ugh, I don't know if I can like go farther than that. It's kind of just like when if you've ever run track and you're doing like, I don't know, you're like running the mile or whatnot, and like it's like you're on like the last 400 meters. You like have given your all. You're literally like you're giving everything you have, and you're like, shit, I don't know if I can do this, but I have to do it. And like, let's say you get to those last 50 meters and you're like, fuck it, like I don't know if I have it in me, but I'm just gonna do it anyways because like I'm already running, and like it would honestly hurt more to stop right now than to just fucking do it and give it all I have. And it's just like I can just collapse once I finish past that finish line, I can collapse, and like that's okay, but like let's just keep going with this momentum. And I think that like feeling is how I feel. And I think that it's like a gift with itself, as much as there's so much like, you know, I guess like stress and like anxiety, and I mean a lot of and fear that you're like confronting in that, because you're just like at that point you're like, I don't know if this is doable, I don't know if this is possible, but then you do it, and then it becomes possible, and then you realize, whoa, I just kind of like pushed my boundaries a little further. I just became like a little bit more powerful. Oh my god, just became a little bit more capable, a little bit more worthy, a little bit more mature, a little bit more confident in what I can do. And like, so when you push out your boundary a little further, it's interesting because it's like suddenly you have expanded. It's like you've expanded. You've become something that bigger than what you thought you were, or what you thought you were capable of, and that's like a really tremendous thing. I was just thinking about it before I came on here too. I was like, that line, that edge that we say, like, this is my limit, this is as much as I can handle. That edge, it's like I asked myself, like, what created that edge? How did that edge come to be in the first place? And the thought that came to my mind is like, well, it was probably like, let me give an example. Like, it's probably like my 16-year-old self, or my younger self, or whatever self that was. Could have maybe my 22-year-old self, or whatever self that is. And I'm sure it's different for different situations. Like, for instance, like different for relationships, or different for business, or different for, creativity, whatever that is. It's like so let's just say my 22-year-old self may have set this limit because my 22-year-old self may have like surpassed my 16-year-old self, and it was like, oh, that's the limit that I got to. And so like that limit, that edge that I'm looking at right now may not be a very good indicator of what I'm truly capable of. And maybe that, that although it is stressful, although it's painful, although it's like there's a lot of anxiety, although it's like uncomfortable and there's so much fucking unknown shit beyond that edge line, maybe I'm capable of going much further than that. It's kind of like playing fucking like app game on your phone where you're like, when you have that one game that you and your buddy play, and like, you're trying to beat each other, and it's like there's always that like that crazy high score that your buddy did, and you're like, it takes like a month for someone to beat that, but then when they do beat that, they like just kill it. It's like they go like 1,000 points beyond what the high score was. So it's like it was like so hard to reach, and then you like double the score. It's like these moments are like the opportunities to like explode beyond, like, just like it's an explosion beyond what you ever thought you could be, and through that you expand further, and through that expansion suddenly you become a different person, because you're like, no, I'm actually not this 22-year-old self edge anymore. I'm this fucking 28-year-old self edge, and that edge actually went like, it's like here was 16, here was 22, here was 28. Shit, now I'm this much bigger person. I know I'm much more capable, and now I'm giving myself permission to do all these different things that I didn't even consider before. Definitely didn't consider when I was 16. Maybe slightly considered when I was 22, but I didn't really trust that. And now when I'm 28, it's like, of course, of course that's fucking gonna happen. Of course I'm gonna fucking start multiple businesses. Of course I'm gonna, put way more on my plate than I think I'm capable of. Of course I'm gonna explore these other realms of my relationships, or put myself out there in different ways, or like, get in front of a huge group of people and just be myself. Like, it's like it's really cool as I'm seeing this now. Like, I'm literally going through this right now. I'm literally sharing you my experiences right now. It's like, it's cool that this exists. So it's like, it's amazing. And so it's like, I think there's so much, like, I guess I want to say I'm learning to value the experiences that force me to go beyond who I think I am, because more often than not, I'm not who I think I am. I'm not who I think I am. I'm actually much more than I think I am, and sometimes it just requires a little bit of momentum to build myself up to a point where like I can't say no, because saying no is actually it's actually stupid. Just like running that mile and get to the last 50 meters, it's like, why the fuck would you stop now? You're almost fucking there, and like, you have the momentum. Just go with it and see what fucking happens. You can collapse at the finish line, doesn't matter, and by that point you did it, and like, it doesn't matter. And there's water at the end of the road there, you can recover. I think that it's just like so powerful. So it's just like transcending your edge. You can fucking do that, you know? And so, anyways, this is more of like an inspirational fucking video for you guys, you know? Like, I honestly, like, today, like, I'm sharing this because today I felt like a piece of shit. Like, I felt so just overwhelmed in so many fucking ways that I couldn't even, like, honestly, it's just like I just felt like this is like a tremendous weight on me, like on my heart, on my fucking finances, like on my, like, in terms of my workload. I was like, I don't fucking know if I can do this, you know? And part of my French, but like I speak fluent. But anyways, I just, like, you know, felt all this, and it's really great once I had this realization of, like, this edge and how useful and important it is, and, like, really important and necessary for the evolution of not only, like, myself, but, like, humanity. It's like, I think that, like, not only is this happening on an individual level, it's happening on a collective level. You know, with all this shit going down with Trump, politics in general, it's like we're being pushed collectively. It's not just me that's finding my edge. It's humanity, and, like, America, humanity that is finding their edge. And so it's like, it's like, let's embrace it. Let's fucking embrace these crazy unknown times, because there is no better time or opportunity for growth than now. And when we do grow, when we do go beyond that edge, it changes the perception of what we think reality is. Because whenever you're looking at something from a different spatial reference, for instance, like if you are looking at Earth from outside of the fucking galaxy, like, it's gonna be a different experience, you know? Space and time are different at that point. Like, you interpret things differently. The experience changes because as space changes, so does the experience. I think that's the same thing in terms of, like, what we think we're capable of, and, like, that limitation, that edge that we set for ourselves. When we extend that edge, when we expand beyond that point, that reference point that we subconsciously create, it changes who we think we are. And I'm curious to see what happens as I push that point further and further. I'm curious what happens, you know? I don't know, in my experience, I think, or at least my thought is that, like, the more I go beyond that, the more I will stop caring about the things that don't matter and care more about the things that do fucking matter, and just fucking do them, and become this fucking shining, brilliant light that does shit and makes shit happen on a fucking, like, visceral level. I think that's exactly what it is. So, and I think those type of people are the people that we see today that are extremely innovative, extremely creative, and doing things that are really changing the world and not asking for permission to do it, you know? So those are those people. And anyways, yeah, so I think that's all I got for today, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Find your edge, transcend it. I think it's worth it. It can be painful, it can hurt a little bit, it's uncomfortable for sure, but it's so fucking worth it, and I'm feeling like $100 right now. So I love you all. Peace and love, my friends.